Hi, I forgot to tell you, I was telling people that we sing after Joys and Sorrows. So after the ceremony with the rocks in the bowl, that's when we sing. Well, there's the reading, and then the closing jazz. Test, oops.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the service of worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. As many of you know, my name is Reverend Bethany Russell Lowe, and I have the great pleasure and honor of serving this congregation. Our community is striving to be as varied of the blooms as the Sonoran Desert, so whoever you are, whoever you've been, and whoever you are in the path to becoming, I invite you to bring your whole self here and now. We no longer require that masks be worn in worship and concurrent religious education, but if you are feeling sick, please join us on YouTube rather than coming in person. And know that our expectation here at UUCT is that if you are participating in in-person activities, you are committed to being as vaccinated as you can be against COVID-19 and anything else that might hurt the rest of us. I extend a special welcome to any visitors this morning and invite you to fill out a guest information card. If you're joining us in person, you could find one in the Welcome Center, which is behind you and to your left. And if you're joining us on YouTube, please go to the newcomer section of our website and fill out a guest information card there. We will meet for social hour right after the service here in Goddard. There will be coffee, iced tea, lemonade, some snacks, and of course, good company. Social hour food and refreshments are free for all, and donations are always appreciated to cover our costs. If you need to use the restroom, there are 2 gender-inclusive bathrooms. Get forward and to the left out that door, down the hallway, turn left, and there are 2 right there. And we have so many announcements this morning, so buckle in. We are doing the Angel Heart Pajama Project again this year. The pajamas you donate will be given to kids of all sizes as they are being taken into the foster care system. We'll collect only new pajamas until the end of December, and there's a box near the Welcome Center where you can put those donations. We are also doing Casey, one of our kitchen ministry folks. Casey, would you stand up so people can see who you are? Casey is doing an angel tree for students at the Valencia Middle School. So if you'd like to help fulfill a few Christmas wishes for a child in that system, they need to be bought by December 19th, but see Casey Jones in social hour, and Casey will help you figure out what tag you're going to take and coordinate with you. We are having Christmas Eve services this year. Christmas Eve this year is on a Sunday, as some of you might not yet know, but now you do. So the 10:30 a.m. regular service will be our contemplative service. The choir will be singing. There will be a sermonish thing. It will be lovely. There will be a sermon. It's self-deprecating humor, right? That's okay. And at 4:30, again, right back here will be our pageant, which will not have a sermonish thing. It will be a lot more chaotic, a lot more fun, and people of all ages participate in our pageant here. So come in costume, or we'll have one for you. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty raucous. Both services will have carols. Only the pageant will have candle lighting. So if Christmas Eve for you is about lighting a candle, join us for the chaos at 4:30. Judy Dare's Celebration of Life will be on January 13th, which is a Saturday at 10:30 right here, and there will be a reception afterwards. Due to some changes in worship today, we will be having our Share the Plate today, just so we're clear. And today, right after worship, we will be having a membership book signing in the Welcome Center behind you and to your left. If you've been hanging around with us for a while and feel like you'd like to formally join as a member, meet me back there right after worship. And then stay for
AV team. Oh, thank you. Hi. I'm Wendy Gordon-Weeks. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees, and we are having a special meeting today to talk about how we're going to fund our Holland project so that we can get back over there with air conditioning and heat. So if you stay, we will feed you free lunch. I promise to keep it as brief as we can, but we do need people to stay so we have quorum, so please do stay for that meeting, and we'll talk about just that one motion and get everybody back to their prepping for December. Perfect. Thank you.
It's noon. It'll start at noon.
Noon.
Here and on Zoom. YouTubers, you could join us too. The link is in the morning's email.
Thank you. And make sure you sign in too.
Yes.
Beth Britton will be signing people in.
Go find Beth to sign in for that meeting. Jody will be too. And the choices for lunch, which is free for newcomers and for anybody staying for the meeting, is a turkey and Swiss or an ultimate veggie sandwich. Now, I invite you to turn to a neighbor, someone you don't know very well, and ask them what they are passionate about. Ask your neighbor what they're passionate about. If you're joining us on YouTube, I welcome you to put your answers in the chat right now. All right, I see what kind of morning it is. Lovely piece, Danielle. Thank you for your playing, as always. Our words for call to worship this morning come from Reverend Gretchen Haley. She writes, "We are all connected, stronger together, love's hands in the world, called to create justice, responsible for one another and the earth. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do?" In these days, we find ourselves too often stuck with these questions on repeat. What's going on? What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? We grasp at signs and markers, articles of news and analysis, Facebook memes, and forwarded emails as if the news zodiac capable of forecasting all that life may yet bring our way, as if we could prepare, as if life had ever made any promise of making sense or turning out the way we'd thought, as if we are not also actors in this still unfolding story. For this hour we gather to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from the needing to know, the yearning to have it all figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all the control or none. Here, in our song and our silence, our stories and our sharing, we make space for a new breath, a new healing, a new possibility to take root. That is courage, forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in this act of faith, that we believe still a new world is possible, that we are creating it already, here and now. Come, let us worship together. And will you please join me in saying our chalice lighting words by Reverend Joy Atkinson. I will read the plain lines, the plain font, and you will read the italicized words. The womb of stars embraces us. Remnants of their fiery furnaces pulse through our veins.
We are of the stars, the dust of explosions cast across space.
We are of the earth. We breathe and live in the breath of ancient plants and beasts.
Their cells nourish the soil. We build our communities on their harvest of gifts.
Our fingers trace the curves carved in clay and stone by forebearers unknown to us.
We are part of the great circle of humanity, gathered around the fire, the hearth, the altar.
We gather anew this day to celebrate our common heritage.
May we recall in gratitude all that has given us birth.
And now, if you're joining us on YouTube, I invite you to light a chalice or candle if you have one nearby, as we light our chalice here in Goddard.
Our first hymn today is a lovely piece that will be new to many of you. So the choir will sing the first verse. Join in as you catch the tune. Please rise in body or spirit and sing, "Joyful is the Dark." What number is it? 275 if you have a hymnal. Joyful
God's Holy Darkness, a story from the Lutheran tradition, written by Sherry Green and Becca Selnick. Darkness and blackness and night are too often compared to lightness and whiteness and day, and found deficient. But let us name the beauty and goodness and holiness of darkness and blackness and night. God uses darkness and blackness and night to show love for the world. Creation began in the dark. In the beginning, darkness covered the face of the deep. God poured out love and brought all things into being. Creation is God's work done in holy darkness. When Abraham began to doubt God's promises, the Lord took him on a walk and pointed to the night sky. Look toward the heaven and count the stars. If you are able to count them, so shall your descendants be. Later, Jacob wrestled all night with God and was changed forever. The beginning of many nations and peoples of the Lord is the work of God's beautiful darkness. At midnight, the Lord passed over Egypt and set the people free. Samuel heard a small voice calling to him in the dark and became a mighty prophet. When the temple was complete, King Solomon said, "The Lord has said he would dwell in thick darkness." The Spirit of God dwells in the holy darkness where we are invited to be held in God's love. Angels appeared to the shepherds in the dark and told them of a baby in a manger. The disciples gathered with Jesus for the Holy Supper as the day turned to night. When Jesus died on the cross, the day went black from noon to 3. God saved all creation, and it was the work of God's beautiful, good, and holy darkness. Rich black soil brings forth abundant life. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. The deep dark of the ocean holds more life than has ever been discovered. We are reminded of the size of God's creation through the boundless, beautiful black of outer space. From the beginning of creation to the stars in the night sky, we are shown God's love. In houses of worship with dark spaces for wonder, we are held in God's love. In the dark soil and deep sea, we are reminded of God's love. From the promise of peace made to the shepherds at night, to the promise Jesus made on the cross, these are the beautiful works of God's holy darkness. One Sunday each month is designated as Share the Plate Sunday, and that is today. On this day, we give half of the non-pledge donations to a community organization whose mission we support. Generosity is a spiritual practice, and Share the Plate is an expression of our mission. Today's service goes to Gospel Rescue Mission as our Share the Plate recipient this month. The Gospel Rescue Mission was founded in 1953 by Ray and Alice Chastain and other caring and concerned Christians in Tucson. Quote, "Hope, shelter, transformation. Gospel Rescue Mission welcomes the hungry and hurting." In their mission, they proclaim, "We address their immediate needs, we build authentic relationships, and we share the gospel so that total transformation happens. The grace of Christ is an amazing gift to be shared with everyone." We dedicate our lives to the homeless and the poor, and we know that God provides complete life change to those who place their trust in Him. They continue, "Our holistic approach addresses the needs of the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. We work in collaboration with those who are passionate about bringing permanent solutions to the crisis of homelessness." So today, half the amount of all checks made out to UUCT that have Share the Plate written in the memo line, as well as half of all cash donations, will go to the Gospel Rescue Mission. If Share the Plate is not written in your checks memo line, it will not be included. Those of us joining virtually, you can send a check to the church office with Share the Plate in the memo, or give online at uuctucson.org/donate. If you give online, be sure to include that your donation is to be included in Share the Plate. This church is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join us. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values.
And while the plate is going around, please sing from your seats, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, hymn 34 in the gray hymnal. Though I may speak with bravest fire, and have the gift to all inside, and have not love, my words are vain, as sounding brass, and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striding soul my love profess, but not begin my love with Him, thy prophet soon turns strangely dim. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed, by this we worship and are free.
We know our earth is strong. It can hold our pain, our joy, our love, our anger. Our shared bowl, which we use for joys and sorrows each week, is strong enough to hold the big rocks, our collective celebrations and mournings. And also the smaller stones will be added to signify our individual joys and sorrows. Let us remember those desert people who came first in this place. We honor the Hohokam, the Yavapai, the Tahano Atham, the Yaqui, and the people who are no longer recognized as tribal entities here. We who live in the desert know that water is a life-sustaining resource. Let's remember those who are walking through our desert right now without access to water. We also bring to mind those who are seeking to ensure greater access to water in the desert. We pour water from a plastic jug similar to the ones used by our ministry partner, No More Deaths. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share, I invite you to go to menti.com and put in the code 7339-6455. If you're in the sanctuary and need help, I'm sure there's a neighbor next to you, and Brian Moon is here also who can help. If you are also here in person, I invite you to come up to the table and create ripples of hope by putting a stone in the water to symbolize your own joy or sorrow. Please come down the center and return by the outside. On our Menti this morning, we are immersed in God's holy darkness. Here we go. Too small. There we go. We have on our Menti this morning, practicing a faith is hard and at times burdensome. Joy, writing, I am a smith of words. Congratulations. Joy, one of my Worthy Now prison ministry pen pals, was released from federal incarceration after serving a 10-year sentence and is now home trying to find employment in the free world. From Steve Krenak. Joy, and everything I have in life, so often I don't stop to appreciate and enjoy. Real spiritual practice. Enjoy playing the viola. We'd love to hear that. For all the joys and sorrows still on our hearts today unspoken, we add our extra stones.
Stars unwound. I was no stranger to darkness. It was my guide, my companion, my friend. I had spent my life concealed in shadows, afraid of allowing myself to be seen by the world. But we are not meant to be shoved in closets. The nature of life is to be free, spiraling, glowing creatures with the right to be ourselves. Plants cannot grow in utter darkness, just as all life cannot thrive forever in the gloom. I am not a shadow, though I dwell in their murky embrace. I am a radiant star, burning so hot that none dare to approach. I am feared. I am a monster. My face is lined with thick scars and burns. People turn away in pity and fear when they see me. I speak, but no one listens. It is as if I am without a voice. They call me the wrong name in a language that I cannot understand. We are foreign, and yet at our roots we are the same. We are all broken things. We are all composed of the dust of broken stars. Our hearts thrum with the rhythms of the ever-changing cosmos. Our blood pounds in our veins, ruby liquid of times long past. The stories and myths of ancient peoples forever live on within us, even if they are forgotten. We are compiled of broken parts of broken things. They extended a hand to pull me out of my shaded cave. I do not like to be touched. I did not take their hand, but followed the glimmer of stars on their dark skin. They led me away from the land of shadows and demons. They led me into a world of light. The light burned my skin. I looked away. I shielded myself from the unreadable glances of the people surrounding me. Fire thrummed within me, plucking the strings of my heart like a harp. The soft melodies floated throughout my body, sending electrical signals to my brain. The musical juice of life. I told them who I am. They accepted me and told me who they are. Two beings who cannot read the language of others. Two beings who do not fit in. They told me that they don't love in the same way that society expects them to. They don't fit the norms aligned for them by the people in power. They too have hid in the shadows. But they cannot be themselves in the shadows. They are free in the light. We did not touch, but we danced. I cannot move in coordinated systems, but it mattered not. My flappy hands sparkled with electricity and stardust. My repetitive motions were a dance set to the rhythm of my heart. Their movements were different, set to their tune. They moved in erratic, uncoordinated, sudden movements, like fate, unpredictable. We were lost souls, at home in each other's company. A small mole settled on my shoulder, soaking themselves with the heat radiating off my body. Another creature who crept from the darkness only to settle in the light. We were bright, shining, brilliant things. Broken, brave, valid, dysphoric bodies. Minds who clicked to different tunes. We were ourselves. In the light cast from flickering, fluttering stars above us, we seemed to become one with the cosmos. Glimmering lights, freed from our shadowed prisons. We were stars in their purest, rawest form. We are all broken, unwound stars.
Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come, sudden and sunlight, mingling through time and through space. Out of time before time in the vastness of space, Earth spun to orbit the sun. Earth with the thunder of mountains newborn, the boiling of seas. Mystery hidden in mystery, back through all time. Mystery rising from rocks in the storm and the sea. Ponder this thing in your heart, ponder with awe. Out of the sea to the land, out of the shadows came ferns.
Rising to walk and to
notes to sing, mates to love.
Light from the sea, warmed by sun, washed us by rain. Light from
This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Out of the stars swung the earth. Life upon earth rose to love.
This is the marvel of life, rising to see and to know. Out of your heart,
Thank you to the choir, and thank you to Tristan. That was the church I needed this morning. But I brought more church. I heard a story recently, and it went something like this. Once there was a seeker of wisdom who sought knowledge on what specific actions one must embody to live a good life. This searcher or seeker of wisdom sat with a hermit, a wise old sage, a teacher full of spiritual wisdom, who said, "It's easy. Go to each of the 4 elements. Listen to what each element will say about what action you need to embody." So the next day, the seeker climbed on a solid rock and sat on it, took a deep breath, and listened to what the earth had to say. "My dear one," Rock said, "let go of your anxious thoughts and know that I am always holding and lifting you up. Trust the support of the solid earth underneath you and allow yourself to put your burdens down. At the same time, stay rooted in fertile, dark earth. Be in good relationship with the dirt of the soil, which provides the nutrients that you need to grow, flourish, and thrive." After receiving the blessing from the earth, the seeker sat on a sandy beach facing an ocean. And then the water spoke to the seeker and said, "As you ride the highs and the lows of waves of life's storms, breathe. Stay in the present moment. Like the river, go with the flow. Learn to embody fluidity so you can adapt to the ever-changing circumstances of your life. Hold things lightly. Do less holding on." And then at the end of the day, the sun set and the cool evening air came, and the person felt the cool breeze. The air spoke these words: "Embody lightness within you so you can rise like air. Be at ease, embodying freedom. May you be open to receive, yet open to let go." And finally, the darkness of night came, and the seeker of wisdom gathered some wood and built a fire. And the light of the fire said, "Do that which kindles love in you. Move towards your inner fire, your sacred purpose, your passion, your bliss. Let my light provide you with clarity and guidance in what you do. And remember that through love, fire is pleasing light. That ends that story. And if I'm being honest, which I think you want your preacher to be, before I heard this story, I was much more likely to think of the negative aspects of fire. Wildfires, dumpster fires, firing off, adding fuel to the fire. We could go on. But this story opened me up to see the creative aspects of fire too, that fire in the belly, the strength of relationships and communities forged by fire, being fired up, the fire of commitment. The story reminded me that fire is the thing which propels our passion. Fire is love and guidance and clarity. Fire leads us to those moments when it feels like all the pieces fall into place and you are filled for that moment or time with a sense of truly embodying the calling, the purpose of your one wild and precious life. And I was struck too by Tristan's use of fire in the piece he wrote. Tristan reminded me too that fire is that thing that can lure us out of the caves that hold us, caves that contain us, the caves of our aloneness, the caves of our isolation, the caves of our oppression. And fire is also that force within that allows us to hear our soul's own calling. Fire gives us energy to dance the rhythms of life. Fire is fuel for our deepest desires. Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Laura Horton Ludwig wrote about the origins of that word desire. And she wrote, the word desire comes from the Latin desiderare, to long for. But the Latin desiderare comes from desidere, from the stars. From the stars. To think that somehow our desire, our longing is connected to the very stars in the sky, the stars which share their light with us across such impossible distances of time and space. The poets may say our desire is a gift from the stars and is ultimately for them, and the beauty and mystery and the creative fire and energy of which they are for us a sign. We are made of those stars, that desire. We begin in and continue to be kept alive by fire. But we know that fire can be creative and passionate and also destructive. We know the ways we've seen the destruction wrought by wildfires in recent years. We know how quickly fire can consume things. Fire, literal and metaphorical, is both creative and destructive. And so too, our passions, our desires can be creative and destructive. In 2017, The Cut, piece of New York Magazine, ran a story about how your passion can become a force for destruction. They wrote about the CEO of a $60 billion company who once said, "I value passion probably more than any other attribute." And they wrote this about him. He saw to it that only the most passionate employees were recruited, and he encouraged the pursuit of performance at all costs. He worked with unabashed fervor, arriving early and staying late, trading his biological family for his corporate one. During his reign, his company, rated by Fortune magazine as the most innovative in America, dramatically outperformed the market. The CEO's name was Jeffrey Skilling, and his company was Enron. And his unadulterated passion to keep growing its financial performance gave rise to one of the most monumental corporate frauds and bankruptcies in history. There's a name I learned for the type of passion that Jeffrey Skilling and others in similar positions to his have: obsessive passion. Psychologist Robert J. Vallerand and a group of researchers studied passion and learned that there are at least two types of passion: obsessive and harmonious. They describe the two types of passion this way. Harmonious passion originates from an autonomous internalization of the activity into one's identity, while obsessive passion emanates from a controlled internalization and comes to control the person. In my plainer words, harmonious passion satisfies the desire from within, which helps us shape our personhood, while obsessive passion satisfies a desire to control oneself and perhaps control others. Passion, like fire, is both creative and destructive. So I'll take the risk of asking what your passion in life is. How has that passion led you to create? Has it ever led you to destroy? We are in the midst of Hanukkah, the festival of lights for Jews of both religious and cultural origins. Hanukkah is a Jewish festival that originates from the story of the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem following the Israeli army's military success. In order to rededicate that temple after the military had succeeded, they had to keep a flame alive in the temple. But they only had oil to last a few days, if that. But somehow this small amount of oil kept alive for 8 days until more oil is brought in. This is the Hanukkah miracle. I'll be honest again and say we had intended to leave a service today focused on Hanukkah, but our worship team decided that lifting up a story focused on the success of a Jewish army was not the right thing to do this year. So we shifted directions more than a month ago. And yet, colleagues around me this season have helped me see a message within the Hanukkah story that does not place emphasis on the military success. Hanukkah can be about how we rededicate ourselves to peace and love. My colleague, Reverend Ellie Kirkpatrick, wrote, "The lessons of Hanukkah should remind us that occupation is unacceptable. We've been there," she writes, "but the light of hope beginning to cleanse the desecrated temple is a reminder that violence is a desecration and that our light must be something else." Hanukkah is a simple miracle, she continues, and one that spreads. May our peace and love spread to cleanse the desecration of our faith. May we remember that we were strangers. May we be the welcome we wished we'd received. Like fire and our passion, the Hanukkah story is about both creation and destruction. It asks us to lean, and can ask us to lean in the creative, resilient, stranger-welcoming messages in our world. Is destruction ever good? Yes, absolutely. Yes, Stephanie. We should deconstruct oppressive systems and create new ways of being. We can and ought to distance ourselves from relationships that hurt us and create new identities for ourselves. We need to let go of our attachment to some things to build that world we dream about. Destruction can be for the common good. And destruction can be a privilege too, right? When calls to burn it down, which I have been guilty of saying in my heart of hearts, when those calls to burn it down lead us to deconstruct systems quickly, those who are already suffering the most have to deal with the negative impacts of systems being burned down. Any process of deconstruction, of intentional destroying, needs to be rooted in relationship and listening to those who have been pushed to the margins. Returning to the question of how your passions are creative and maybe potentially destructive, I have not been able to get Reverend Dr. Rebecca Ann Parker's poem, "Choose to Bless the World," out of my head in preparing for this service. I read it to your board at our retreat earlier this fall, and I offer it to you all as a way to close this sermon. She writes, "Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of hands, the reaches of the heart, the gifts of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting, any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting, that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, there is another possibility waiting. Friends, what will you do with that fire burning in you, with that passion calling you to become? I hope you, with me, choose to bless the world. Amen. Blessed be, and may we make it so.
Please rise as you are able and lend your voice to the fire of commitment. 1028 in the teal hymnal, if you have a teal hymnal. Words will be projected on the screen. From the light of days remembered, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits tuned to faith, set free from fear. In the fire of commitment sets our minds
Susan Carlson. We leave blessed by our connections to one another and to the spirit of life. Walk lightly that you see life that is below your feet. Spread your arms as if you had wings and could dance through the air. Feel the joy of the breath in your lungs and the fire in your heart. Live to love and be a blessing on this earth.